Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Meat and Potato Show, conservative talk and awesome rock. I am your host, Christopher Mader, and proving once again that the Meat and Potato Show is nationwide. We are welcoming once again for the fourth time to the Meat and Potato Show my great guest and my boss working on his campaign, calling all the way from California here on Skype. John Albert Dummett Jr., who is running for the 2016 presidential nomination and hopefully the ultimate prize in 2016. John, welcome once again back to my show, sir. How are you, sir?
Glad to be here.
John, thank you so much. Hey, John, I want to talk to you very first off. You have had some things going on with a legal situation going on with the Obama administration. There are other people that are doing this, and I want you to open up this interview with what's going on with that right now. Talk to us about that right now.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I ended up going to the eligibility lawsuit since 2005, for everybody who wants to know. And we ended up getting shot down like everybody else due to technicalities, never on the merits of the case. So I came up with an idea. Instead of going after Barack Obama, I'd go after Secretary of State Deborah Bowen. And she's charged by the state of California to qualify people to be on the ballot. She's the one that puts their names on the ballot. So the court said that it's not her constitutional duty to check anybody out, but if she wants to disqualify somebody, she can. So it's more mumbo jumbo. So essentially what I did is I contacted, well, I came up with another idea, and that's called warranto, and that's pretty much where any surgeon can challenge the eligibility of any candidate for anything, even for dog catcher if you want to. Right. And I did manage to get, well, I'm being taken care of attorney-wise, and we filed, I guess, or we're getting ready to file again. So this time called warranto.
That's very interesting. So it was dismissed on a technicality. Please,
right.
I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. It was dismissed on a technicality. Isn't that the way this thing seems to be going for you, though? Everything they're always looking for they're always looking for the technicality. Never mind the merits of the case or what is actually that. Well, I'm sorry, sir. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
You know where I'm coming from.
The guy named Mario Puzo, and he wrote about Leo D'Onofrio's. He's the attorney that handled Commander Kirchner's case back east. And of course, the court had agreed that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, that anybody that had standing, which would be anybody running for president, would actually be able to sue. Well, that's what got me in the game, running for president in the first place, was getting standing to go after Barack Obama. And so that's when I became a candidate. That was the first time way back there, about 2008, I guess. And I guess that's what it was, yeah. And so, hey, I mean, what are we going to do? They're going to shoot us down. That's what they did with approval, but the court sided with us. They did what we said we wanted them to do with Leo D'Onofrio and Kirchner, but Kirchner didn't have standing because he wasn't a presidential candidate. So here I come as a presidential candidate, and I got the standing to say, where's the ruling? So they're definitely dodging, and they're bobbing and weaving, and now I'm going to hit them with this cold warrant, so we'll see how to deal with that.
That's absolutely amazing because, I think to myself that we keep seeing all the time with this guy and everything with his administration that, I mean, this complete usurpation that there isn't a damn thing, excuse my French there, sir, but there isn't a damn thing this guy isn't doing that isn't a violation somewhere along the way of the constitutional powers, the separation of powers, his executive orders, this whole thing with the border that's going on. There isn't anything, and it's not just a matter of, oh, you might disagree with this policy, I might disagree with this policy. It's a matter of, hello, wake up and see the entire picture. We've seen nothing. You know, you and I could disagree on Carter. You and I could disagree on Reagan. You and I could disagree on Bush 1 and Bush 2. The policies, things they said, did, whatever. We would never have seen anything from any of them that we are seeing here today. It is, I can't even begin to put into words what this man is doing. What, not just what this man, but his administration. It's like, that devil may care. Just let it go. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Take it over from. You see what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's destroying the republic, and that was planned. That was Arrow's plan. That was, all the people that groomed him. That's the whole idea. We knew it from the get-go. I mean, and I kind of chuckled to myself. Some guy wrote me a note and said, "Hey, he was born in Hawaii." And I said, and so I started looking up in Kenya.
There's a Hawaii in Kenya. I know. I looked that up too. Right.
I couldn't believe it. I was flabbergasted. I went, "That is great." I said, "Yeah, he was born in Hawaii. He's not a liar, at least, I guess." But of course, he's not going to admit that he's not constitutionally eligible to be president. And of course, we're going to keep after him on that. I'll keep on him. And right up, I don't care. Even after the election, I could care less. Once he leaves office, whatever. I'm staying on it until he's behind bars. That's it.
Now, there are rumors. We know they're all fake. We know it's a hoax about he's going to run for a third term. We know that's a hoax.
Yeah,
but you know what? You and I have gray hair on our head, so nothing surprises me. I mean, I don't subscribe to that. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, a prudent person wouldn't expect that. We're hoping for a next election at the time. But you know what? Nothing surprises me with this guy.
It surprised you, though. You know it's not going to happen, but hey.
Yeah, but you understand.
Guns in the hands of about 100 million Americans. He's not going to run for a third time.
Right, but it wouldn't surprise me if something this guy does. I mean, think about what's happened over the last 6 years from this guy. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
It's the immigrant problem right now. That is your false flag event, right there and there. I've said it 100 times, and I've been saying it since I got going into this, that this illegal immigration problem has been planned from the get-go. I mean, what? Is there anybody out there really stupid enough to believe? And I'm tired of being politically correct. I got chastised on it for calling the Islamic terrorists over there, the Hamas lobbing the rockets over into Israel. I called them retards.
Well, I'm the same way, sir.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people, oh, what are you calling people retards? That's bad. Oh, okay, they're intellectually challenged. Look, if you do something stupid, your brain is suppressed. It's retarded. So I call him a retard. Big deal. But the point is, Barack Obama's planned this out from day one, and really you'd have to be kind of beyond stupid to believe that, thousands upon thousands of children were waiting down in Guatemala and Honduras and God knows what Central American country, South American country, and they just all decided to...
Oh, God, this was planned. Yeah, it was planned.
But that happened, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're smart enough to believe that one, okay. Well, there's your FEMA camp. There's your UN troops. There's your policed out, militarized police force. They're there to deal with the problems that they're going to have by allowing these illegal immigrants into the country and by allowing them to become legal citizens by just a stroke of a pen. And he's going to do it, and that's your false flag event, and then that's going to water down the electorate, and then forget about getting anything passed, unless it's maybe to give back California, New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas, and that's the only thing I can think of. I won't buy it from him. But there's your false flag event.
Yeah, again, it brings us back to this guy has absolutely no scruples, and you and I keep saying this guy. We keep talking about Obama, but it is even bigger than him. It's his administration, it's his cabinet, it's the people who are involved with him, and they're all in league with this. And the question I have And even if you don't know the answer, just say so. But what is their plan here? What's
Oh, come on, we know what the plan is. It's to establish the new world order. And that's the bottom line.
right?
That's the plan. The plan is to ruin the United States of America as a constitutional republic.
Well,
And they've done it.
yeah, he did
It's
say
done.
he did
Slam
say
dunk, boom.
change
They're
you,
done.
change you can believe in. That's what he said. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. And the amazing thing is I talk to people like you. I do a ton of research for my show, and I keep seeing this all the time. And the prudent part of me wants to say, "Oh, no, Chris, that's crazy talk. That's conspiracy. Don't fall into that plan. Don't fall into that." But yet I keep coming up with this stuff over and over. And I'm sorry, sir, but I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what? Maybe everyone's right. Maybe this is exactly what's going on. I don't, that. Do you understand, sir, that there's that part of me that doesn't want to believe that because I think it's conspiracy stuff, but yet I keep seeing over and over and over and over and over again, over again.
The other night I was arguing out with some guy. Oh, we didn't. The Arabs didn't fly those airplanes into the Trade Towers. It was our own planes. I mean, nobody saw a plane hit the Pentagon. I'm like, come on, folks. We know what happened. We watched it with our own eyes. Okay, we saw it.
Right.
Okay, okay. Could there have been a conspiracy with our government, like what we had with the Japanese during World War One and Two? Yeah, of course. Could we have known that something was going to happen, didn't do anything about it? Yeah, that could have happened. But did we plan it out? No, we didn't plan it out. And that's not. So I don't buy into all these willy-nilly conspiracies. But what we're seeing in front of our eyeballs is actions, and we're seeing concrete reactions to what they've done.
Right.
And you can see what they've done to our monetary system. You can see what they're trying to do. I mean, we're a socialist state now. Good grief.
Sure.
I just heard today that the federal government is going to legalize marijuana across the United States.
So we can all be doped up.
Yeah, well, actually, it's only for less than 0.03%. But, it's a start. That's how you get it going, that's like with the marriage between a man and a woman, we go out there, we pass laws. People say, hey, marriage is a religious institution. Belongs with a man and a woman, not a man and a man or a woman and a woman. They don't understand that, okay, what they're asking for is a civil union, which I can go along with. But when they start putting marriage in it, now they start mixing with religion. And that's a totally different animal. And but see, now they shut it down our throats, and that's what's happening.
But
we lost our liberties, our freedoms. Every day we turn around, they say it's in the name of our safety. Well, I say, don't worry about my safety. Just keep them, at bay at the ocean, and I'll take care of them at my house. Leave me alone.
Well, the thing that, sir, you're educated enough to know that socialism is all about a bit by bit, incremental, little by little, over time. We've seen this. You studied your history. I've studied my history. I'm currently reading a biography on FDR right now, and I'm only through probably the first quarter of this biography. It's like a 500-page biography, and even in the first up to 1928, I'm up to in his history in politics. It was the same thing. It was all about coercion, patronage, just the whole push the envelope, push the message, push the doctrine, and the Wilsonian attitude, the League of Nations, everything. It was, even back then, it was bit by bit, incremental, until here we are in 2014, and suddenly we wake up one day and socialism is right there in our front yard.
That's the slow-cooked frog method. So you put that frog in that tepid water and turn up the heat, and he won't jump out.
Yeah.
But if you hit him with the hot stuff right off the bat, that frog will jump right, But hey, you slow cook them, he'll sit there and fry. And that's what we're doing. We're paying for it right now. We're paying for every mistake we've made. And of course, a lot of people think conservatives, they want dirty air. They don't want their parents taken care of, or kids taken care of. We all know that. We like dirty water and all that kind of stuff. But come on, we all hate the same things that all liberals do. We just don't want change for the sake of change. But liberalism, like they say, is a mental disorder because they want to change things when it's not broke, or they want to try something different just for the sake of trying it, not worrying about the repercussions if they do try something and it doesn't work.
One of the things,
like I say, if it's not broke, you don't fix it. And if it is broke, you try to fix it. Start with the easiest fix first.
Yeah. One of the things I've read Frederick Bastiat's pamphlet in 1848, his pamphlet The Law, and he said this in his pamphlet. He was a French who spoke during the waning days of the French Revolution. You know Frederick Bastiat, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things he spoke about is that engineers, people who actually build things, they set up models and they design them to break so that they can figure out why they broke and so that they can make them better over time before they release them out to, okay, here's the new product and we fixed everything. But politics and political theory is based on just a theory. And it's like, all right, let's do this, and poof, they throw it out there. And if it breaks, they kind of fix it in the field. Let's look at Obamacare. It's the same thing. They knew this thing was going to break. It wasn't going to be a good thing. But they threw it out there, and this is going to be the theory, and this is the way it's going to be. And never mind the fact that it broke, even though we've all knew it was going to break, somehow this is the way the socialists do things. It's like, this is how it is, accept it, yes, we know it's broken, oh, but we'll fix it as we go along.
That's the diversion, though, guys. I mean, that's the thing you got to watch out for what's going on right now. We got a lot of diversionary stuff going on for the bigger picture, and that big picture is that one world order that everybody wants to climb onto now. I don't know. And the thing I've been scratching my head a lot, and his name has a lot to do with it. When you see that Hussein in there, and you see the way things are going on in the Middle East, and you really get to wonder, what's this guy up to? I mean, where do we fit in the bigger picture of things? Right now, I heard in Iraq, they said there were 64,000 Christians.
Yeah.
Well, there's a thing called ISIS over there.
Yeah, let's move on to that. Thank you, sir. Let's move on to that. I want to move on to that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Take over, sir.
Yeah, these guys, well, it's a real strange case. It branched out of Al-Qaeda. And Osama bin Laden, and the guy's name's Zawahiri, okay, as opposed to Zawahiri. It's Kiri. We bombed him. We killed him. But he came up with the Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And out of that branched these guys called ISIS. And I can't exactly remember the acronym, but
it's Iraq, Serious Islamic, something or other, yeah.
Sadim or something like that.
It doesn't matter because they're all crazy anyway.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They're running around. There were 60-some thousand Christians, and they just got their order. And this is what people don't understand. They got their Islamic order saying, convert or die. And the thing is passed. Now they're cutting the heads off these guys and placing them on spikes all over Iraq.
Yes.
And now they say there's 30,000 left. And the last, I guess, the Christian leader in Iraq right now said Christianity is dead in Iraq. And so you got to wonder what their world attitude is. You've got them over in Israel. Okay, now Israel is getting pummeled every day by rockets. And I hear an argument with, I like to talk about these little arguments I get with people because I don't even know why I argue with them, because I like to use analogies, and I say, okay, you've got your neighborhood that you live in, and across the way, about a mile away, separate you a bunch of trees, and there's another neighborhood. And what they're doing is they're setting up their rocket launchers in schools, churches, their playgrounds, and all that kind of stuff, and they're lobbing rockets over at you all day long. And what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and wait for one of them to come and hit you and kill you? So what's the Israelis doing? I think they show remarkable respect, to be honest with you. And I don't understand what's taking them so long. I think the United States put a lot of pressure on them. I think Osama, yeah, that's right, Obama is putting a lot of pressure on them, and that was a Freudian slip. Because I kind of think that he's probably more aligned towards Osama bin Laden than Obama.
He almost can't make that mistake sometimes.
Yeah, well, I make that mistake easy with that guy. So now we're sitting here watching, and they're crawling in through tunnels, and now I see that there was an errant mortar that hit a schoolyard, and you could actually see it's probably Israeli. It probably is. That you really can't tell much of anything's going on, but the difference between the Arabs and the Israelis is the Israelis will get up there and say, hey, we may have made a mistake, but we're trying very hard not to kill innocent people. But, here's the thing. What's the difference? If you're lobbing rockets over every day in somebody's backyard, you're going to lob them back. Or you're going to do something. And so that's what we're up against right now. Now, guess what? Now you got guys ISIS getting ready because they're coming to a neighborhood near you.
I do not apologize for one of the things I always say, the Meat and Potato Show is a no apologies network. We do not make apologies for the statements that we make or the positions we take. If you don't like what we say, there's cookies and milk in the next room, and here's a quarter, call somebody, who cares. But the thing that I say about this whole thing that's going on with Israel and Gaza is that you're right. You keep lobbing these rockets in, you get what you get. You don't want crap, then don't start any crap. In fact, I watched a documentary from Alan Dershowitz several years ago, and what he said was that the Palestinians hate the Jews so much, and they want to kill the Jews so much that they hate them more than they love their own idea of their own homeland. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And I hate to break in because I don't want to lose this train of thought. Because you got the Sunnis and the Shiites. You got two different groups of Muslims over there. And you've got very peaceful, the Shiites, and then you got the Sunnis over there that are going, crazy, and that's your ISIS. Those ISIS folks. And they're the ones that are actually getting the guns. And, Israel will give them a call up to say, okay, this neighborhood's going to be bombed this time. Get out of there. So what happens? Guys start getting out of there, and their own people push them back in there.
This happens all. You're right. They do that. They do that.
That's exactly what they're doing, because they hide behind women and children. They put their weapons in schools and in churches, and then they expect them not to be bombed. Are you kidding me?
Right. Here's the thing that we didn't learn from Iraq and in Afghanistan is our troops said that all the time. They're using them as human shields, and somehow in our media or even here in America, we somehow compartmentalize. Oh, that's what happened in Iraq, or that's what happened in Afghanistan. Oh no, that's so bad. But then when we see it with Gaza and Israel, it's like, oh no, that's Israel's fault. It's like, no, it's the same thing. It's the same tactic. They're using the same tactic. They're hiding their weapons in and amongst civilians. They're using women and children as human shields. And then, of course, the Israelis, I'm sorry, we have to fire because our soldiers are getting killed and fired at. We have to do that. But then the media turns and says, oh, the Israelis killed all these women and children. It is so... you know what, John? We have entered bizarro world. It's a complete bizarro world that we've entered here, where I even have people on my Facebook page that are posting stuff on the Meat and Potatoes page in defense of Gaza, and I've gotta let them go. I do delete some stuff, but I gotta let them go just to give their equal voice. But even they are just, they're out to lunch. They're not getting this. They don't get it.
No, here's the thing. And really, I argued about Israel's claim to the region. Well, anybody that would claim to be a Christian even, okay? All Christians and Jews know how long the Jews have been in that area. Okay? We all know it came from Exodus.
Yes.
We know Moses, and we know Joshua. When he
Well, it used to be called Judea. We know that.
The people that were there were called the Philistines, not the Palestinians. They're called Philistines. And they were actually of Greek origin, okay? They were seafaring people.
Thank you.
They were knocked off by the Israelis.
Here's
okay?
a little history,
now, what's on the
folks.
mount? The mount was the Holy Temple. That was the temple on the mount. It wasn't the mosque. It was the Holy Temple, the tabernacle, where they kept the Ark of the Covenant. So if anybody lays claim to the region first, it's going to be the Israelis. Okay, even though the Palestinians, they don't understand that they were a Bedouin organization that were going all over the Middle East because they're herders. And the Israelis come over there in their Levant, and they turn sand and dirt into a Garden of Eden. That's what they did with it. Now, what did the Palestinians do with their stuff? Well, go look at Gaza.
Yeah.
Go look what they did. I can give you an example right now. Look at the difference between Tijuana and San Diego. Less than a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
It's like going into a different world. Why? What's the difference? I mean, you're talking the topography, what? The land? You know exactly what it is. It's the people. It's their ideas and the way of life. Look, the Palestinians, all they have to do, right now, I can tell you right now, if they did what the South Africans did, and don't give all the claim of credit to Mandela. It just drives me crazy when people do that, because really what it was the white that got rid of apartheid. Okay? It's simple. They had to do it. Because if they didn't want to release power, they didn't have to. So apartheid ended in South Africa because of the white, you know.
That's a great point.
So we already see that. So all they needed to do in Palestine, really, or in Israel, is for the Palestinians, because the Israelis have already said it. Hey, put down your weapons, join us. We'll give you representation. You have a place to live. Nobody else wants them in the region. I mean, why isn't Jordan taking them? Why not Syria? Why not, Lebanon? Why don't they take them? They're not going to take them because they don't want them.
It's interesting that you make that point about the southern border in our country alone, and you make that interesting point in South Africa, because I just saw a documentary about how Gaza and the Palestinian state was under so-called Israeli occupation. There was business, there was commerce, there were streets, there were buildings, there were schools, there were things going on, there was trade, there were, it was almost like living here in the United States. You could walk down the street and you could go see your friends and neighbors, and you could go down to the local corner store or the local cafe and do what you wanted to do. And then, of course, in 2005, the Intifada happened, and then in 2005 we had the election with Hamas and everything else, and so the Israelis were ordered to get out. So they got out. Now you see that area today. It's a nightmare. It's a mess. It would be the equivalent of Detroit back in the 1950s, where everything was trade and commerce and houses and homes and people were building cars and everything else, and it was stuff going on. Detroit back in the 50s to Detroit of today, which is bombed and closed down and just rotting away. That's the same thing that's going on. And the people don't get this here in the United States. Of course, you and I get it, but I'm talking about the left. I'm talking about the media that doesn't get it. You know what I'm talking about. You know the analogy I'm drawing here, sir.
Right. Yeah, I can see it happening. I can see what's going on. You could end the problem in a second. Just get everybody out of the business. Let Israel do it. The Palestinians should just kick the radical fundamentalists out of their country and get on with living. They got a culture of death over there. That's what they've got. If they don't want to live, they don't have anything really. They're going to get their reward. And it really gets me because I can't. Look, to an Islamic person, women go to hell. Okay, that's all there is to it. Women go to hell.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure out where they're going to get their 72 virgins. Well, virgin what? I mean, if women are in hell and they're in heaven, what is it virgin that they're getting at?
It doesn't. Yeah, right. It makes no sense. None of that makes sense.
It's crazy. But but that's what you got to tell these young kids. That strap bombs are there. And then you send your your child out there, your 12-year-old, your 9-year-old, with a bomb strapped to them and say, hey, you go on out here and you're going to immediately be in paradise. You know, come on, folks. It's a religion of death. That's not Israel. That's not us. And that's why we're diametrically opposed, and that's why they're not going to get it until they get rid of the radical Muslim. Until they get rid of that, you're never going to have peace in this world, because like they say, and the truth is that you either convert, you'll pay, or you'll die. That's it. That's the three choices you get.
That's it.
And they'll apply it here too. Don't you think they won't?
What's interesting is that people from the left talk about you and me with our Christian values, and they say that we're the crazy ones. That we hold on to this, this idea of Christianity, our Judeo-Christian values and our Constitution. Oh, we're crazy. But yet, when they turn and look at Islam, they say, oh, but that's their culture, and somehow we have to accept that. Now, again, the left is able to compartmentalize the way they think about, what's going on here in America as opposed to what's going on over there. And it really does. It boils down to, these people, it's what Bill Whittle called oikophobia. These people, oikophobia being the opposite of xenophobia, meaning xenophobia is fear and loathing of foreigners. Oikophobia is fear and loathing of your own culture. And that's what it is. It's a syndrome that has somehow taken over the left and taken over the media and is prevalent here that this just seems, I have no more, I'm sorry, I have no more words. It's everywhere here in America.
Well, we outnumber them, and that's the point. If you're going to sit there and let it happen, well, okay. We're trying, okay? We're not outnumbered. That's the good thing about it. A black cat just walked in front of my screen. Is that my token death?
Well, I have two black cats down here, and they're walking all over my legs, so don't worry about it. We're good to go. We're good to go. My two black cats cancel out your black. Let's move on. Let's move on to the border. What's going on the border here? Again, it all does. It segues into the same thing with the Obama regime. This change, hope and change you can believe in. Well, there we go. This is what we've got. We've got... And again, everyone knows the jihadists are coming across. There are tons of reports. I just got back from my vacation, and I opened up my Facebook and my emails and my mail to all my news feeds. This thing hasn't gotten any better, has it, sir?
Well, it's right. Look, I just saw a report. Actually, the organizations. Well, one of the overpasses for America. I was involved with something that they did here just recently. It's not so much for my political campaign, but it's more geared towards what's going on in the border. And I don't know if they really understand the ramifications of what happens if we happen to elect another president that's going to allow these illegal aliens to stay in this country, or to even to contemplate making them legal to begin with. Now that's the real problem. But anyway, they have made some headway, because I did notice that the Border Patrol was actually running the patrol boats up and down the Rio Grande, and they were actually with their 50 calibers out there, they're patrolling pretty good right now. So they are turning some people back, and that goes to show you that if you get out there and say something and do something, then the government has to stand up and look. They got to look and say, hey, wait a minute. That's a big wave of people out there. We're just a few hundred people. How are we going to tell them if they don't want all these illegals over here? How are we going to tell them we're going to have them anyway? We have the power. We do have the power. That's the problem. But getting people to understand what that power is, that's two different animals. Apply it, that's two different animals.
What's amazing is that I see the Texas Rangers are down there doing it. Governor Perry in Texas has deployed 1,000 National Guards. He hasn't given them arresting powers. I would disagree with Governor Perry on that. But that's Governor Perry. You gotta let sir, sir, you're a big states' rights guy. You've got to let the states do what the states got to do. But even still, we're seeing the Texas Rangers down there. There's the National Guards down there. Militia is down there. Personal, actual people are down there, just like they showed up at the Bundy. They're down there, and we are seeing a change in the tide there. We're seeing here in Massachusetts there are huge protests going on here at Westover Air Force Base down in Chicopee, Mass. Edwards, not Edwards. What the hell's the name of that? But anyways, down on the Cape Cod, there's huge protests going on there. Everyone in the state is screaming and yelling at our governor, Deval Patrick, about letting the illegals in here and housing them here. And of course, I understand that the left will say yada yada, children, yada yada, but we all know that that's not the case. There's all sorts of people being let in here, aren't there, sir?
Well, you know that.
You're in California, so tell us what's going on there.
Well, we already know what's going on in California. I can tell you, I've lived through it. I've been down in Southern California. I'm up in a place where we don't have them jumping across our backyard like we did with the helicopters flying overhead every night. But we still can't go to your Home Depot, and of course there'll be a crowd of men standing out there, and the truck will come by and roll down his window, and everybody will jump in the back of the truck and take off. Well, you know what those are. Those are illegal immigrants.
Exactly.
And they're not coming over here to pick our tomatoes either. They're coming over here taking away our construction jobs, landscaping jobs. And another thing I watched, it was the largest clothing manufacturing facility in I think it's on the West Coast. It was down in Los Angeles. And you look at everybody. I didn't see one Anglo in the whole bunch. I didn't see one African American in the whole bunch. They were all Latino, every one of them. And I'm going, oh, wait a minute. And they're paid by the piece. So that's how they're used to getting paid anyway. So what we pay to educate, incarcerate all the illegal immigrants in this state alone, we could take every kid in this state, educate them.
Yeah.
Get full medical.
Yep.
And food, and give them a college education at Harvard.
Yeah, right.
Extra money.
Yeah, it's a misallocation of the funds. Right.
Either.
Yeah, it's a misallocation of the funds. It's like what happened with the VA. We find out that the VA, people are being left out in the cold and stuff. People are dying, but yet, and they claim, oh, there's no money. We have no money for it. But yet somehow the administration asked for $3.7 billion to take care of these illegals coming in, a crisis that they've created. Again, sir, I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse. We have entered bizarro world. It is so, I'm sorry, it's so head up the ass mentality that we have in our government now, isn't it?
Can't take them all. Listen, the potato famine was a whole different, situation over in Ireland. But we have a history in this country of taking in illegal immigrants, legal immigrants. The illegal immigrants are the one that we can't handle. Those are the ones that are sapping all our strength. We can't take on everybody. Now, when we've got 92 million Americans right now, we're 92 million, 120,000. They just stopped looking for work. Just flat out stopped. Right. They're not even counted in the numbers, in the unemployment numbers.
Right, exactly. Absolutely true. Thank you.
Good. Now, introduce 30, 40 million instant citizens to this country.
Boom.
Now where are these people going to get a job now?
Exactly.
And they're not going to pick tomatoes. And like I said, it's not all this agricultural work that they're doing. I'm all for this agricultural green card stuff if they want to come up here and work and then go back where they came from.
Sure, right, sure.
Stuff out. That's what's good. But when you sit here in this country and you say, no, you get to suck off, the government teeth until it's completely dry. And I mean, there's only so many teeth the dog has.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to have to get knocked off somewhere.
That's true.
And I don't want to be the one knocked off. I get very little from anything from my government anyway. I don't really care to have anything from them. But what my government does do for me, I want it to being done for me.
It's not like America is the economic engine of the world anymore. back in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, you couldn't swing a cat without hitting something that said "Made in the USA." I mean, we were the economic superpower of the world. Where are the jobs? So where are these 30 million people supposed to get jobs? And what kind of a job are these people supposed to get? And like you just said, now they have to compete with the 90 million Americans that are now out of work, also looking for these non-jobs that are out there. There's no more building, no more inventing, no more manufacturing. Again, it's not the 1950s anymore. This is a completely different paradigm that's going on here in America now. Where, tell me somewhere, Mr. Obama, where this magical job creation is supposed to come from.
The make-believe money that the Federal Reserve throws out there, that's where it comes from. I mean, it's nothing to them. It's supposed to represent something of intrinsic value, but of course it isn't.
But to somebody like you and me, we work, we invent, we create, we know that value. You're working on your campaign. You created this thing out of thin air and you busted your ass to get this thing going. This is something that, I'm sorry, Mr. Obama. Yes, John Dummett did build that. My show. I'm sorry, Mr. Obama. Yes, I did build that. This is something that we are doing, but that's not necessarily, an industry growth, something that... Yeah, do you understand where I'm going here, John?
I do, in my particular case, I'm sorry to say for you, I can do a lot to change things for all Americans if they happen to get me at the White House. Because, believe me, I'll turn things around like you can't believe. I mean, it'd be like a whirlwind hit this. I mean, prepare to reap the wind because it's coming. Because, like I said, I'll have a stack of papers a mile high ready for the independent prosecutors, and then the nullification, I'll be the first 100 days nullifying laws until the cows come home. I'm talking about laws that can be nullified, and those executive orders that Barack Obama has managed to president.
Yeah, great. Yeah, let's move on. That's a great segue, sir. Thank you for doing that. Let's segue into that. Yeah, this is the thing about. I mean, there was a time when an executive order would be issued because there was an actual emergency. Something was going on. The president had to act. Something had to be done. These things just roll out. I think I was looking at the latest number of the executive order. It's like 13,380 or something. It's like, really? 13,000? It's like,
and understand, the executive order is for one thing, really, and one thing only, to run the executive office. Period. It's not meant to be for running laws. It's not.
Or to take care of an emergency or something that's going on.
An extreme emergency, like, hey, we got a tornado that just killed 100,000 people.
Executive law, send the money down, send the people down there to take care of it. Right.
Yeah, I understand that. And I don't think anybody would begrudge that. They would hope that the federal government helped them out in that manner. That, hey, these little AB ones that bite, that little bite out of you, every little, no, those things got to go. And we've got to get to the point now where we go back to understanding that laws are created one way and one way only, and that's going through Congress like they're supposed to, and work their way up through the president and then maybe to the Supreme Court, but never the other way around.
Right.
That's not the way this country works, and that's why I said I'll be so busy, and I can change a lot of things around. And I'll tell you what, I don't think you're going to find many presidential candidates going to go out there. What they're going to tell you right now, and I'm going to tell you, and you can hear it here first. It's like I'm clairvoyant. You're going to say, God, he got it perfect. They're going to get up there in front of you and they're going to say, whoever runs, if it's not me, some other guy, the Republican or the Democrat or whoever, and they're going to come, they're going to say, my fellow Americans, we're going to have to really bite the bullet down. We've got really bad problems going on in this country. We're going to have to all pull together and work together as one and settle things out. Forget about all the fraud that was done to us, 8 years ago with all the banking industry, the mortgage crashing. everybody being paid off, these auto industry people who went bankrupt and they're sitting off on some Mediterranean beach somewhere drinking a pina colada somewhere, or anything, even unbelievable history, unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
The things that have destroyed this country. We have got to go back and reverse those things, and then maybe we can get back, to start doing the things that we did best, like you said, back in the 50s. But America's not dead. America can spring back in a split second. I mean, right prior to World War II, we didn't even have a military. We really didn't. And then Japan finished us off with the Navy, and the only thing that saved us was the aircraft carriers that happened to be out to sea at the moment. And I think that was planned by
right.
I think that was a planned event because they knew those capital ships weren't going to be the way of war anymore. It was going to be the aircraft carriers. But bottom line is, we're not done yet. But I'll tell you what, we will be done. We will be finished. You go for that clear politician, you're going to get it. You're going to get it good, and be prepared for it to get 10 times worse, because it's not going to get any better. Well, the time comes right now. We have to throw away the old. We have to go back to what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted to see citizen legislators getting in there. I don't have to know every little detail of how every little thing works in this world to be a good president.
Sure.
You have to know the people that are the experts.
Exactly.
You have to know how it works. But you have to know when to delegate and when to get out there and get the right people in the right position to do the right job.
Yeah, it's called
that's all there is to being president.
Right.
And don't disobey or disregard the Constitution. And then let the states start handling some of their own problems and let them deal with it. And if it doesn't interfere with what, the Constitution, because we know that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, if it doesn't interfere with that, leave it to the states. Let the states deal with it. And then, of course, let the federal government get in there when they have to.
That is absolutely amazing. Do you think, you're a historian, and I'm a historian, and we've seen a slow slide towards more federalism.
Oh, absolutely. I know exactly what had happened.
Do you think, and of course we've seen the evolvement of our government and the evolvement of administrations, and of course history has played a role. Do you think we're at a certain catharsis right now where we like you just said, we've reached that point where there's just too much. There's just too much. And we've reached what they call critical point.
Right.
Critical point. Right. Yeah. Go ahead. Take it. You know where I'm going. Take it over.
Yeah, we're critical mass right now. I mean, we've taken about as much as we possibly can take. And the point is that the federal government has become so overbearing now that the federalists actually have won. I mean, forget about states' rights; they're gone. And understand that that's why it started in 1860. People don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. No, I know where you're going.
After Reconstruction, that was the end of the states' rights. That was it. Bye. See you later. It's gone. And then it was a slow slide from then. And then, of course, you had this. It's like punctuated equilibrium to where you would have everything go along, and then you'd be good with it for a while, and then all of a sudden, boom, you'd have this big cultural shift or something like that, and then the federal would grab more power, and then, of course, they'd back off a little bit, let you get used to that flavor for a while, 20, 30 years, and boom, they hit you with it again. Some crisis like the depression.
Right.
And so that's what they've done to us. And now, there's only one way to get back, and it's very, very simple. All you have to do, and when I say restore the Constitution, I don't mean go back there and take the 13th and 14th Amendment out and all those kinds of things, No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah.
That's they tell you.
That's what the left wants, right? That's what the left wants. That's what the left thinks, right?
Yeah. No. What I want to see is I want to see a lessening of federal over the state and the individual, even if the state was out of the people's business as much as possible. And that's where you might think that I'm a little bit libertarian, even though I do know there's a place for government.
No, but you're right, though, sir. I mean, it's just too out of control. It really, really is. It's just too out of control. We see the militarization of our police. I mean, it is into every single minutia of every single person's life. I mean, I was just thinking earlier today about. I watched a film documentary back in 2012, and I don't know what made me think about this. I was probably researching or looking at something else. It was called Farmageddon. I mean, we haven't just reached a point of tyranny. We've reached a point of absurd tyranny.
Oh,
Where we have, and again, getting back to this documentary I watched in 2012, Farmageddon it was called, we have SWAT teams showing up at organic farms to confiscate organic tomatoes and raw milk because they're selling it at roadside stands because they violated some crazy EPA or USDA rule somewhere and they called out the SWAT team. It's like we haven't reached just tyranny, we've reached absurd tyranny. Really? You called a SWAT team out to bust up a roadside farm stand? It's like this is what I'm talking. We've reached absurd tyranny.
Well, we've allowed it, and the farmer said, "Okay, give me the subsidy. I'll go ahead and I'll take it from you." I mean, you don't get anything for free in this world. That's one thing my dad taught me. Nothing's free, nothing.
But I mean, what I mean by absurd tyranny, I mean, even look at your state. I mean, the people are kicking in doors over drug busts, and it's like the guy's just selling pot, and they show up with MRAPs, and they shoot the people's dogs, and they bust it, and the guy just sells pot. He's just some old man who sells pot. That's what I mean about absurd. I can understand if we're going after terrorists. I can understand if we're going after hardcore gang members and drug dealers. Fine. Show up with your MRAPs and your SWAT teams. You're busting old men. You're busting farm stands. You're
gonna go get your Cheeto eating munchie, Twinkie.
You're going after kids selling lemonade on the side of the street. This is what I mean about absurd tyranny. It's gone so bad. You get pulled over, and in fact, I just read a recent report that never mind border security and everything else. There are checkpoints now within Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. I don't know what's going on in Southern California there, but within 100 miles or 65 miles or a couple of hundred miles, there are border checkpoints. So people who live within the continental United States who have to drive from one city to the next city to go to work or just go buy groceries have to stop at these checkpoints within the continental, sorry, that's my cat, within the continental United States.
Yeah, there was one in California.
Yeah, this is what I mean about absurd tyranny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They had, like up there, but one border check up there, but I'm against the entrapment period. I don't like checkpoints, period. I think that's a violation of your constitutional rights, to live peacefully, and without interference. Matter of fact, I was on a jury one time. Usually when they find out you've got a college degree, they figure you can think for yourself. Okay, that's fine. When they find out you're working for the state, that's double whammy against you. But I managed to get on this one jury, and they had arrested this guy, and they had some hard drugs. He had some hard drugs on him, and he had the paraphernalia with him, and he also had a scale, and he also had baggies, and and all that kind of stuff, and they wanted to get him for intent to sell. And I'm still waiting for the officer to say he tried to sell me a bag of whatever it was. He had heroin or something. But I never heard that, and so I was in the jury room, and I said, okay, I'm all for busting the guy for possession, but as far as sales, nobody said he tried selling anything. I don't care what crap he had on his car, and that's where our government's gone crazy, is now they're trying to read into the law what it is. And now you've got these folks running around.
Right.
They're trying to entrap you. Like, I think that bait car is entrapment.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're putting out a steak in front of a starving dog, and what's that dog going to do?
He's going to eat the steak, right?
Eat the steak, and look.
And then you bust the dog for eating the steak, right?
And people like that. but they don't, because what you're doing is you're allowing the federal government or the government, because that's state government or local government, entrap you and take away your rights, make you do something. They're making you do. Now, of course, you've got free will. You can leave it alone. I would. I'd walk right by any car with running or whatever. I tried doing that. I would never steal anything, or I would never dream of that. Before I could see where it might tempt somebody to do it, and even a good person, you know. Especially in these times, you know, they get to thinking about things. I don't know, it's just
interestingly.
Stop. I mean, you hate drunk drivers. I hate them like you can't believe. Matter of fact.
But having checkpoints on the road, and stopping everybody.
I was up in Tahoe. What's the deal? I was up in Tahoe on what's the law? Okay, and I missed a turn, and I made a U-turn, and I come around, and I hit a big rock in the middle of the road. Somebody had actually placed it out there for me to hit. Not just me personally, but somebody did.
Yeah,
it's obvious. It's not, you know, there's no hill for it to roll down there. You know, it was actually placed there. But anyway, and throw up my oil pan, all that kind of good stuff. Well, just right before us, a guy and a gal on a motorcycle went by us. Okay? A minute later, somebody came across the divide and smashed right into them and killed them both. And I mean, that could have been us, but then you say, okay, they had the checkpoint they were going to set up. We heard that they were going to set up a checkpoint, but I guess they didn't get to it quick enough. See, it happens no matter you get the checkpoint or not. So, I mean, you got to get these people different ways, you know, by using the law. But I don't like the idea of entrapment. I really don't.
This is what I mean. Absurd tyranny. So, sir, let's move on here, because we're actually beyond our hour, but that's okay. I don't care. This is the Meat and Potato Show. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to John Dummett from California. He's calling on to the show on Skype. John, talk to us about your campaign. Gonna go full blown on the 1st of August. You go to your actual site. You're going to launch a campaign and go full bore on this. And, sir, I'm going to be there to help you every way I can. We have the thing coming up on August 30th, the symposium, and you will be calling in to be there. And we're going to have you on over the next 10 days, 2 weeks, throughout August to just keep talking about issues that's going on. So tell us about what's going on with your campaign and what are your plans moving forward here.
Yeah, that's the plans. I've got the campaign managers in place, ready to go. He was trying to heal up from an injury that he was getting already. In the meantime, I had been planning on, you know, getting everybody set up, getting the bank account set up, getting the donation site set up, and then, of course, getting together with a few speaking engagements here in California because, you know, I have to have the California support. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, really. All right.
You can't expect to be spread out all over the United States and get anything done. Although it works very, very well because you reach a lot of people. And, I mean, my site's been going up all kinds of support. So we've got the element out there for us to get the job done. And my campaign manager and their assistant, so they'll be setting people up, giving them their job, giving them marching orders, getting me to get on the ballot. That's going to be the main thing. I think, really, if they see my name on the ballot, I'm going to get the vote.
Sure,
right. I really feel that's the way it's going to happen.
Right.
People are so just anti-sick of everybody, because really think about it. Who's out there right now? I mean, you can think of. And I can tell you there's a couple of them that are going to get after the lawsuit the second they try to run, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I might not get anywhere with it, but they're no better than Barack Obama is. And it has nothing to do with their race or whatever, or even their ideology. It has everything to do with it being unconstitutional. And that we're dealing with right now. You can see what's going on with the constitutional crisis that we have right now. So I'm not going to triple it by allowing a couple more usurpers to get in there. And why people don't get that, it's incredible to me that they wouldn't. See, they don't care.
They don't care. And they're not educated either. They're not educated about the Constitution. They don't know the way the whole thing is supposed to be set up. You're right. They don't know that.
No idea. I mean, okay, you know, like Cruz, for example, just use him. Okay, nice guy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree.
Great
Nice
ideas,
guy.
okay?
Right.
Okay, but the problem
Not
is,
qualified. Not
knowledgeable.
qualified. Not qualified.
So I don't care if the guy has the answer for every question for every answer. I don't care.
He's not
It matters
qualified.
not to
That's
me.
right.
What
Right.
matters to me
Right.
is that
Marco
Constitution.
Rubio too. He's the same way. He's not qualified
Yeah,
either.
Bell, Romney, you know, and then you get looking at, now we get Hillary Clinton. Of course, I've been told by my people that she's not going to be running, so don't worry about her. And then there's a couple other gals I understand. There are some media people. I can't remember right offhand who they are, but they're not really anybody. So if I look on the horizon, there's really not that great of a line to choose from. I mean, I don't see a Ronald Reagan out there, but I look at myself and I say, oh yeah, well, I'm about as close as you're ever going to get. Ronald Reagan. Here's the thing. You sir know Ronald Reagan. Well, I'll tell you, I'm a lot closer to Ronald Reagan than anybody else running out there.
Exactly. Well, the thing I love about talking to you is you spell it out, and that's why I interview people like you on my show. You spell it out. You just spell it right out, and that's why I love having people like you on my show. But you make a great point. In fact, I've been doing that research too. I don't see anybody either. I don't see anybody because we're in the latter half of 2014. It's a congressional election, a senatorial election, a gubernatorial election. Usually, you would see people starting to line up that for 2016. I haven't seen anybody.
Not really. Not anybody worth a hoot. Not anybody that isn't going to do anything about what's going on. Because like I said, you're going to get that speech like I told you you're going to get. You're going to get that, my fellow American. We have to put away our past differences and get together, roll up our sleeves, and do what's right.
Right.
Tell you what, it happens every time to us, and what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens except a change of face. And more scandal, and more government intrusion, more money being spent, more jobs lost, you know, more illegal crap going on, you know. It's just, it wants to make you puke when you even think about it, but the solution's so simple. Just get you this is what I tell people. Don't call me a politician, call me a statesman, okay? I'm a statesman. I'm not a politician. I don't ever want to be a politician. Never. You know, when I get done, that's the last you're going to see of me. I'm going to walk away off in the sunset, ride my horse red, and I'm going to be gone.
That's it.
You're not going to see me anymore.
This is what's different now. It's almost become celebrity status now. You've got we're gonna build the library, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, oh God, another library.
Talk the retirement fund that they get and all that kind of good stuff. Hey, look, put a roof over my head, you know, pay for my bills while I'm sitting there, make sure I get to wherever I got to speak, and that's all you got to pay me. You know, it's your duty, and it's an honor, and I mean, to hold that office, and if I can do something that reverts and gets us back on track, then I feel that I've done my duty as a citizen, as a patriot, and as a human being that loves this nation.
And
I'll tell you, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll guarantee you I'll do it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that you and I spoke about in one of our first couple of interviews is that you had even said that, and I threw the question out, but you even concurred that you might actually have to sign a few executive orders to undo the other executive orders.
Well, I know I said it, and I'm kind of getting sheepish. I go, oh,
I know.
I'm going to have to.
But you might have to do that. I mean, it's that much of a mess that you might actually. It's like Reagan said, it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. But you might actually have to bite that bullet.
You aren't going to solve everything overnight. It's not going to happen. It's going to have to be a complete paradigm shift. And what I mean by that is, if you go out there and you go find some everyday, ordinary Joe citizen, okay, that has a decent IQ, you know, can hold a conversation with somebody, understands the problem, or at least knows how to figure out the answers to things, then you're going to get things solved. But hey, you go right back to the well every time and get that same fish out of it. And we do every time.
Yep.
Same guy. I mean, what's the difference between, really, Carter and Clinton? Between both the Bushes? I mean, what's the difference? I don't really see any difference. I mean, the only president that I really even gave a hoot about was Ronald Reagan, and that was it. And he was, he was a great man. He wasn't the greatest, but he was a great man, and I love him. And believe me, I'm a Reagan guy like you can't believe. I met him when I was 12 years old, so I do love the guy. But I'm trying to tell you that in this century and last part of the last half century, Wilson, and I mean Truman. I mean, come on, think about it. And then, well, Kennedy, he died for us, and I mean, I've really come to appreciate him, and that's really kind of odd because I am a conservative, and I always thought of Kennedy as being an enemy. But then when I go to find out that he already signed the executive order to get rid of the Federal Reserve, weeks later he's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
You get to thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, what's going on here? And I'm saying the same thing. The only difference is I ain't going to be riding in a convertible.
That's a great point that you lead me to. I've said to my audience, and I've said on my Facebook pages, I've been involved with reading many of the biographies of many of our presidents. I finished Jefferson. I just went through Andrew Jackson. I went through Washington. I'm going through FDR right now. I went through Carter, Reagan. I know it sounds like I'm jumping around, but it's just the way I get hold of these books and able to read them. And one of the things I've come to learn, and I've got a bunch of stuff on Kennedy too, sitting on deck. I'm going to go through his stuff too. One of the great things I've learned from reading all these biographies of these people and their diaries. I read the Carter diaries, I read Reagan diaries. Right now I'm reading FDR biography, which has a whole section in there of his own diary itself. But one of the things I've learned from all of these different presidents from the past, and I mean the past, is that even though other people were waiting in the wings, waiting to and putting their names in and trying to get themselves into the presidency, they came from a variety. They came from, even though many of them might have been connected, they came from different parties and different segments of the country and different beliefs and different, and this was the magic of what America was early on in the days. They came from everywhere, and they all believed in this service of country, and they all believed in this, I'm going to get in there. I would love to win 2 terms or maybe 3 terms before, of course, we know we passed that amendment. But they knew that I'm going to do this, I'm going to get in, take care of what I have to take care of, and then I'm going to get out. And then somebody else from somewhere else from across the country would come in. And this is what I loved about it, as I see this diversity. But now it just seems like I said earlier, it's celebrity status. It seems like it's a dynasty. And this is not what we were intended to be, is it, sir?
No, of course not. You know that fact. I mean, George Washington himself, when they asked him if he wanted to be president, he said absolutely not.
That's right.
And dragged him into doing it. And, he understood what was going on and what it would entail. Same way with Jefferson, Jackson, all those guys. Adams, all those guys.
That Adams didn't want anything to do with it either, right?
And Adams did a lot for this country. But
he did amazingly a lot, right?
But then you get what we've got now, and they're just pablum. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Just Casper milk toast, just
What I love there.
Testosterone in their body. They're all worried about political correctness.
What I love this, sir. What I love there is for a moment you actually looked off in the distance. You couldn't even find the word yourself because you're right. It's like, yeah, what the hell are we dealing with here? Yeah. Even I look off into the distance. It's like, what are we dealing with here?
Well, you got to reach into the back of your head to try to figure out what went wrong. And
right.
That's the problem, right there. Right? I've got it half solved. I can get it rest solved, but like I said, I can't do it alone. I can't. It's going to take the people to do it. They've got to understand it. Do I have the time to get it out? That's why I started as early as I did. People either hate me, they like me, and there's no in between, it seems.
Sure.
But I understand that. That's cool. It's the way it goes. But what I do offer up is something different. I mean, really something absolutely totally different. And I can tell you what, there's no way that I don't even know what a community organizer is. Okay, so I mean, I've done a lot of
I
community
don't even
organizing
know.
stuff, little league, scouts, stuff like that. That really, I don't know what that man has done that really makes him all that qualified to be president of the United States.
And now they're
Qualified.
thinking about Elizabeth Warren, another one-term senator who came out of puff out of nowhere. What the hell are these people thinking? Again, it's like we are. You just said it earlier. It's like we're fishing out of the same barrel for the same fish.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's just a different fish. That's it. I mean, they cast a net, see what you get. Heck with this fisherman pulling a string. Cast a wider net and see what you can drag in. And you're going to find those people. Hey, I tell people all the time. They said one person can't make a difference. Oh, is that right? Julius Caesar, Napoleon. And you want me to go down a litany of so many one people? Adolf Hitler. I mean, there's a lot of people. One person can do a lot of damage.
Sure, right. Who came out of nowhere? That's right.
Yeah, out of nowhere, absolutely out of
Absolutely,
nowhere. Way out
right,
of left
right.
field. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming out of left field. More people are getting to know who I am, what I'm doing. I am what I am. Like Popeye said. That's it. What I say, you can take it to the bank. What I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. And I only have really a small set of things that I plan on doing in the first 4 years. And if I can get them done, this will be a different country. I'll guarantee you that.
Well,
There's going to
John,
be a lot of people in jail. There's going to be a good job creation.
a lot of people are going to be in jail.
Yeah,
John,
incarcerate some people, build some prisons out there because the American people are owed some bank.
they are. John,
They're owed a lot of things.
John, thank you so much.
Get out of their hair after that.
John,
Yeah.
thank you so much, John. I always love talking to you. And John, I want to tell you right here for the camera and talking to you, because I know you're going to be working on your campaign over the next month and coming into my symposium on the 30th. John, I'm going to be working with you here in Massachusetts, and I've already sent you some private stuff that I want to be working on after this is over. I want to work to do what little I can to help represent you here in Massachusetts. So whatever I can do, sir, I am truly appreciative of you giving me that time to do that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it more than you can imagine. Just getting the airtime, because look, just every little grain of sand is going to make that big difference.
That's right.
Everybody that's listening to me, one person, but you add everybody up.
Sure.
Yeah, boy, you can't be beat.
Actually, you have, one of the things I always say to the candidates that I have on the show, and I'm going to repeat it again. I know my audience will say, oh, here he goes again. But no, I always like letting candidates like you come on. I've interviewed candidates from all over the country since 2008. I've been doing this candidate interviews since since 2008. I do it all the time, every election season, and I always interview the people who are out in left field there. And I don't mean that they're these out there in left field people. No, it's because you're never gonna hear them on the mainstream media. No one's ever gonna give them that time. No one's ever gonna give them that shot. So one of the reasons why I do the show that I do is to give them that shot and bring them back on. And the reason why I make my show viral the way I do over the social media is because, again, no mainstream media is going to let that happen. But I can make that happen for you, and I can make that happen for the other candidates. And this is why I enjoy doing this, and this is why I enjoy talking to you, and this is why I am so grateful for you letting me help you with the campaign, to help represent you here in Massachusetts. And whatever I can do, I'll just do whatever I can do for you, John. That's what I can do.
That's all we can do, buddy.
All right, John, thank you so much for calling into the show. And and we will be talking to you again. I'll send you an email and let you know what the next available date is. About 10 days or so. Yeah, and again, August 30th, John Dummett is going to be showing up.
Everything we're using that 30th day as a kickoff.
That's it.
going.
Excellent. John, thank you so much. All right, buddy. See you later. And that's it.